Greetings, gamers. Tim here again. I'm not going to be too energetic today because it's just a kind of low day for me, and my energy's at an ebb for doing much of anything. Lots of reasons, but I'm still here. I'm still kicking, so that's a good thing. But yeah, I am doing RPGADAY, so today is August 12th, 2017. And it says the kicker is which RPG has the most inspiring interior art? And that's difficult. That really is. Because there are so many great game artists and great games out there using those artists that it becomes a challenge to pick one that rises above the rest or is what I would consider inspiring the most. Now, there are lots of color games. There's lots of very vibrantly slick page color games art in books these days. In fact, it tends to be more common than not. So, I'm thinking, where do we go? Are we choosing black and white interior art? Because there's a lot of really good inspiring pieces in some old school books. Are we talking about color art? Specifically, the glossy spent a lot of money to create a singular vision of a world type of artwork. Are we talking about the most varied art that shows you what you do in the game? And there's so many options that if you choose any one of them, you're not going to get the best inspiring interior art. You're going to be getting one that has an aspect that works for you, but may not work for somebody else. And lots of people don't even care if there's art in their games. I've had that told to me more than a few times. Like, art, whatever. I like art in role-playing games. I like it quite a bit. I enjoy flipping through and looking at the pictures and just perusing at leisure. When I don't feel like reading, when I don't feel like absorbing information, just, enjoying the atmosphere the art creates for a game or a product. I was flipping through, for example, Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition Player's Guide, and I noticed that somehow most of the elves in the book have a blue cast to their skin, either because of lighting effects or because I guess the artist liked that color for elves. And I just pointed it out. And so my friends mocked me for the blue elves. But I think it's actually kind of funny because I'd started writing a setting in which the elves were going to be blue. And I'm flipping through 5th edition D&D, and this is after I'd started work on the setting. All I knew about what D&D was going to be like was from D&D Next. No art whatsoever at that time. And so I'm like, you know what? I'm going to start making a game world, a D&D game world, just because I like to try 5th edition and I like to have my own place to play in, my own sandbox. And then I decide that elves' skin color is based on the phases of the moon they were born under, or rather conceived under, but the same idea is what I mean. And that it goes from lighter from children who are created under full moon to darker, almost blue-black, to those born under the dark of the moon. And I tied elves quite a bit to the phases of the moon. At first I was trying to make that a personality thing, and then I thought, no, I really don't want it to be a personality thing because I want people to be able to just play around with the idea of whatever skin color they want their elf to be, uh, more than I want to impose a specific cultural identity on all elves or a specific personality on all elves of a specific skin color. Because that's done. It already is. We've got that. We've got drow elves. We've got wood elves in some settings that have green skin, and drow have tar colored skin. I'm never a fan of them being painted to look like human dark skin tones because they're meant to be alien to us. And unless they're that dark, of tar, they aren't alien to us because very few humans reach that color of skin. But there are a few. And in fact, there's a very beautiful model that has skin so dark in the real world that is just, just gorgeous. And her skin tone is so dark and she's just beautiful. And it kills me because I tend to make my settings a little more egalitarian than others. I like races to get along and live side by side, and so there's more conflict in my setting between nations and people from a nation and another nation, and those people may be, here's 10% of the elves in this nation, and 80% humans in this nation, and a mix of the other races to the other 10% to make 100%, and they all hate people from this other nation whose mix is nearly identical in terms of people. And I like that idea more for my particular fantasy setting than arbitrarily assigning one color an evil side. Because, we do it as humans and I don't like that. I really don't. I think it's inappropriate. So how does this come back to what's the most inspiring art? And I had to think about this because the use of color is a very powerful tool in art. I'm an amateur artist. I mostly do sketches. My sketches vary from fairly nice to, oh my God, what did I put down on this page? How do I fix it? And I have a large number. I used to have a box that weighed maybe 60 pounds of drawings, and it was filled with people who were missing a limb. Just, I loved everything else, but I could not get their one leg or their one arm or their whatever other part of them I could not manage to get right. So there were superheroes missing a leg, and there were knights in armor missing arms, and it's just I could not get it right because I wanted to do something dynamic with that perspective, and it just never turned out. It's easier to draw just somebody standing there like a dead, mannequin with no life to them, with no pose ability to them beyond, that static stare of that figure. And so, in challenging myself to do more, I created a whole lot of art that was missing major elements that I felt should be there, a dramatic pose, more than just like, I have drawn an elf. Here is an elf. This is what elves look like in this game. And they're just standing there, arms at their sides, feet kind of apart, head maybe tilted sideways so you get to see their pointy ears, maybe not. And it's just a dead piece of art because it's got no motion, no movement to it. And color can add that. Light like shading when you do art can add to that. And I didn't expect this video to be very long because I didn't intend to talk about art as much as I am. But some of my favorite pieces of art I've done, okay, well that was weird. Um, I just had a sound I didn't expect. And my headphones suddenly, startled me. Um, this is kind of rambling. I mean, I really do ramble in these things quite a bit. But the most inspiring is just such a phenomenally, phenomenally, I can't say the word today. It is such a fantastic challenge that I have to think. I have to actually go and look at the books I have and think about the quality of art and the quality of poses and the quality of shading and styling and etc. And all of that to get to the basic of what I feel inspires gameplay. And I'm probably going to surprise some people with this because I do like color. I like color art in games a lot. But my choice for most inspiring art isn't in color, or at least primarily it's not in color. If you got like the collector's edition, there are some art cards that came with it, and that's Golden Sky Story. The reason for me putting forth Golden Sky Stories is because the game is atypical in its tone, in its mood, in the way it presents itself. Uh, it's not meant to be played the way a lot of role-playing games are. Most role-playing games are adventure role-playing games. They have action, they have violence, they have big explosions, you know. Uh, but Golden Sky Stories are about animal spirits, and these animal spirits are trying to help people of their place they live, their village, deal with their feelings. And it's very unique in that respect. It's originally a Japanese role-playing game that was brought over here. Uh, and it's truly been one of the most impressive RPGs I've ever seen in terms of doing the art right, doing the layout right, presenting a very different dynamic than so much that's on the market today. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely an adventure gamer. I like action and a little violence and explosions. But there's a part of me that likes Golden Sky Stories and the art in Golden Sky Stories so much because it is taking a completely different direction in what kind of stories it wants to tell, shape, help you enjoy, however you want to put it. And its art reveals that as much as its words and its design, but it is definitely the most inspiring game in terms of art I've ever looked at. There are others that come in second and third place. For example, Hellas, Worlds of Sun and Stone is definitely second place for me, although I feel it could use some more action pieces. It's got a lot of uh, basically Greek style art, and there are not very many action pieces of conflict between groups of individuals in that artwork. It's a beautiful book. Don't mistake me, it's a beautiful book, but I like to see art of action in an action game. And it doesn't have that much really. It has some, I mean, but a lot of it is here is this race, and here is this monster, and here are the spaceship, and here is the you know, the Greek art sort of stand in for the god that characters can worship in Hellas. But it's not two characters, sword fighting. Swinging one across the chandelier, the other one climbing the stairs. There's no motion to it, and because there's no motion to it, there's also no emotion in it, and so that's one reason Golden Sky Stories is my primary pick. Shadowrun is very notable for the art, at least when they avoid heavy CGI. I mean, let's be honest. It's a science fiction game that takes place in our near future. So CGI art is not out of place. But when you put it side by side with paintings, it creates a very distinct visual difference between the two types of art and can be disharmonious, discordant. That's a better word, discordant with each other. But there are lots of games with great art. So, I mean, it's really pick the one that moves you emotionally the best. And for me, it was Golden Sky Story. It definitely is a different kind of game, and its art is different, and it shows you that. And, it's kind of something I wish I could live up to, but I'm a small, tiny, it's like, here's a small game company. Here is my company, fundamentally, just me writing, and I have to hire artists. And sometimes I've been so impressed by artists' work that they made me basically scratch the direction I was going with the game and start over because their artwork was so impressive for the cover that I had realized my game was not up to the standards of that art. I had to start over. And I think the final game I will end up with will be much better because of that inspiration. I can't afford much more of that art, but it still would be nice to have because of how good it was. So, art in games is a contentious thing, and it is just like writing style. Some people like technical manual details, A, B, C, D, E, put slot Q in slot R, and that's how the rules work. Other people like more personal, talk to them rules, and in a way, that's an art form itself. So, but visual art, Golden Sky Stories is my top. With Hellas and Shadowrun in second place tied. And notably recent Shadowruns. Original Shadowruns had great covers and their interior arts were good, but they weren't color art. And so they, didn't quite get the feel of the very gloomy, dark world that they were in quite as well. Now, a lot of it depends on the artist. I mean, because there's a lot of good first edition Shadowrun art. I don't remember who it was by. It might have been Tim Bradstreet. And Bradstreet is very good at doing the dark and moody. But, that's just one of those things. Each person will like a game on its merits, art style, writing style, rules, setting, but inspiring art. Now that's a hard thing to capture. Anyway, peace and good gaming. It was nice talking to you.